Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the $1 Billion Movie Club. This is a show where each and every week we look at movies that made a whole lot of money. And we go, oh, I see why you made money. I see what happened there, Mr. Rock. As
You,
always,
don't
I'm
you
Christian
mean
Masin.
Mr. The Rock?
He's a friend of the show. We have a much more
No, 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 no,
casual.
no, no. If you're gonna call him The Rock, you gotta use the full thing because he's not just any rock, okay? He's the Rock.
Is that what you think? Co-host of the show, Pawan Mehta?
Yes, co-host Christian Masinson.
Huh. So those are your thoughts on how to properly address Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Yes, yes.
And why would we need to properly address him in this episode?
Because we're talking about a movie called Fate.
Called Fate.
I mean, it's right there. It's F8. It's Fate.
F8, short for, yes, you guessed it, everyone's favorite film of all time. Fuck you, Citizen Kane. The Fate of the Furious. The Fate of the Furious, the eighth entry in the Fast and Furious franchise, released on April 14th, 2017, with a budget of $250 million. The film opened domestically with a total of $98.8 million. Important thing to note, it at the time was the highest grossing opening weekend from a black director, Mr. F. Gary Gray. Lots of money for Gary Gray right there. Another fun thing to note, the film's opening weekend had a global opening all around the world of $539.9 million, the largest global opening ever at the time.
Oh, wow.
Higher than any other movie. It would be number one 3 weeks domestically until it was dethroned by Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But don't worry, on April 30th, 2017, Seth Kelly at Variety reports Fate of the Furious crosses 1 billion at worldwide box office. It's making that money. All right. The film would end with a domestic total of $226 million, and it made 1.009 billion internationally, which means if you take out the American box office, it still made $1 billion.
Yeah.
The film would go on to gross a total of 1.236 billion worldwide. Now, it's interesting to note, at the time, domestically, it was the 139th highest grossing film domestically. So it wasn't a big domestic hit. However, it was the 11th highest grossing film worldwide. That's what the worldwide box office does to a movie like this. It currently sits at 164 domestic and 19 worldwide. Pawan, what
Well,
was the fate of this film? Oh, do you have something to add?
Well, it seems that the international market, they really do numbers with movies that it seems that the American market doesn't want anymore. Like we got this one, we got Transformers: Age of Extinction, we got Pirates 4,
Yeah, yeah.
all fours, but this is 4 2.
It is interesting you bring that up. Uh, although the fourth iterations of Pirates and Transformers still were able to hold on to some lasting legacy, I guess, if you will, their next entries underperformed, right?
We
Not
don't know
just
what's going to
domestically, but
happen with this one.
worldwide. We don't know, but it doesn't outside of the coronavirus tanking numbers probably.
I mean, with a title like F9, I don't know what's going to
F9.
happen.
Oh, F9 is going to be F9. Well, what happens in Fate of the Furious or Fate for hate?
Okay. So we start in Havana. I think it was in Cuba.
Yeah, I think it was Havana, Cuba.
Okay. And then we see a street race because it's not a Fast and Furious movie without a street race, though this one was the most tenuous one at best that it's been. And then there's Charlize Theron being like, yo, Dominic Toretto, can you help me with my car? And he's like, yo, why you know my name? And then she's like, I have something you want. So now you work for me. and then he crosses his family because he's got to protect his family. That's how that ends up happening, because it turns out that this other lady, who I'm assuming was in previous movies, had a child with Dominic Toretto, and he's like, I gotta make sure my baby's safe. But now all the other good guys are like, yo, Dom turned on us. What can we do now? And they're like, we do what we always do. We drive cars. And then they drive cars and like take shit. And then Charlize Theron's like, no, you can't let them stop you from doing shit. And then they go back and forth like that for a while. And then they somehow end up in Russia. And then Charlize Theron's trying to take a submarine, and then the family's like, we can't let her take the submarine. There's nukes there. And then Dom's like, I gotta help her, but you know what? I'm gonna set this plan in motion to protect my baby. And then once that's done, I'm gonna help out the boys. And then that's what happens.
Oh my god.
And then Charlize Theron escapes, which who knows what's gonna happen to her. Stay tuned for 9.
Have you seen this one before, this watch?
No.
Or no? So I've mentioned back when we hit I believe it was the 20th episode of our show, we watched the second greatest film to ever cross $1 billion, Furious 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned how I have never seen any of these movies before doing the podcast. And I am 100% on board now. I don't think I mentioned that with each sequel, my mind says, oh, this is where it starts getting really cartoony. And yet somehow they get more and more cartoony and wacky with each iteration.
You know, what was the budget of 7 compared to this one?
I can look that up right now. I don't have that off the top of my head, but we can look into that. This one was $250 million. That's a lot of money.
Because I don't know.
You don't think
I feel like 7 was a bit more spectacular.
I will say I like 7 more than 8, and I think 7 works more than 8. But it's so ridiculous and over the top, not just in the spectacle. But you have like, oh, Dom, I have your baby.
By the way, so how old is that baby?
So to answer your question, the budget of Furious 7 is 190 to 250 million. So about the same, probably. I don't know how old this baby is.
So what was Dom cheating on Letty is my question.
So, okay. So context, right? First off, let's just have the reminder, death means nothing in these movies.
Yeah.
Not only is that reminded in this one, but it's just, oh. Anyways, The Fast and the Furious, the 4th entry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Starts off and, oh no, Letty's dead. That's terrible. And there's a lot of drama in that one, right? So Letty's dead. Fast 5 comes out. Obviously, Letty's dead. She's not in Fast 5 until an end credit scene where it's revealed, oh no, Letty's still alive. However, in Fast 5, Elena, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
She was like The Rock's, like not understudy, but like The Rock was like mentoring her. He needed like the best police officer there, and he took her under his wing, and so she was his number 2. And then they meet Dom, and Dom and Elena have a little thing in that one, which is fleshed out into 6. Then 6, you find out, oh no, Letty's still alive, and then Elena's like, yeah, Dom, I love you, but I know you love her more, so I'm just gonna step back.
Okay, so now my question is, how much time is there in between films?
Well, you know what's even weirder? She's in Furious 7.
Oh, was she the one at the base at the beginning?
Yeah, she's like The Rock's partner again in Furious 7. So she must have been kidnapped after Furious 7?
Whoa, wait. No. I know exactly what happened. So, is she there beyond that scene?
I think she
7?
might show up like near the end. I forget.
Forget that. She didn't.
Fine.
She was kidnapped after that explosion. Dwayne didn't save her. Because
But
one thing we learned from this movie, Miss Simpson, is that Charlize Theron was the author of all
she
Dom's
was.
pain.
She was. She was. Now, going off of that, yes. When did Dom knock her up? Was 7 right after 6? Or I
Yeah,
thought there
that's
was
why I'm
time between
asking,
6
like,
and
what's
7.
the time like difference between these movies?
I think once we can pinpoint when it happened, then we could calculate the time difference
Like, I feel like we need to get like Jerry Springer or Maury in on this.
to figure out. Because what if Dom's not the actual parent? Oh my god!
Okay, you know what? You know what? We got to save some ideas for later, Miss Simpson.
You know when I'm not using that for this episode, but when we get to F9, because
Oh
we
no, I'm
probably
using
will.
it. I'm using it.
Okay,
Fuck.
sure. I'll just pull my foot off the gas. All right. You see that I have that little NOS thing on my side here, but I'm gonna close the cover. I'm not gonna press it. I'm gonna close the cover so it's
You
not even
know,
pressed.
you know what I was reminded of during that scene?
What?
Like the first
which
one,
scene?
the
Okay.
the race.
Okay.
I was reminded of the game Hot Wheels World Race. We'll get back to this idea later.
You know, both Hot Wheels and Fast and Furious had DLC for Forza Horizon, right? As if they're intrinsically linked.
So I've seen the Hot Wheels DLC. I did not know about the Fast and Furious DLC.
Yeah, that's probably around Furious 7 or Fate of the Furious.
So
They-
like,
they
was
made
it for Forza Horizon 2?
Maybe.
Because I can't get my hands on Forza Horizon 2 DLC anymore.
As I say that, part of me wants to say it actually came out on 360, so maybe even early. I don't know. I
Forza
forget.
Horizon 2 was on both consoles.
Maybe.
But we're not here to
Wait,
talk about Forza. We're talking about other cars going.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. It says The Fate of the Furious is a 2017 American action thriller film. Is it a thriller?
The thriller aspect is wondering what's Dom gonna do to his family.
So to start off, even though we're like 10 minutes in the podcast now, to start off, I enjoyed this one.
I did too. I didn't enjoy it as much.
No,
It felt like a resetting almost for like setting up the stakes for the next one
Really?
more so than being a huge thing in itself.
I found that was the least consequential of the 8 movies so far.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay. Like a palate cleanser after
7, yeah.
everything? Yeah.
Because
'Cause,
like one thing I
we
will
said that at
say,
the same time.
sorry. one thing is that they really don't do much with Charlize Theron in this one.
I don't think they want to though.
Like I get that they're saving it for later, but like she really just was standing in a room being like, do the thing.
I don't think she does much less than Luke Evans or Statham. But now, as I said that, I'm like, did she even have a fight sequence?
No.
All right. So maybe that's part of it. Which is odd. You'd think this would have been post Atomic Blonde, I think. So why wouldn't you have Charlize
I
Theron
know, right?
do a fight? Huh. That's odd.
They were saving it for 9.
For 9.
9.
Have you seen the trailer for 9 yet?
Yeah, I saw that they go to space,
They don't though.
but they're in the spaceships and they're going to space and then
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
like
so
what
very
people have been
funny.
predicting since like the 6th entry in this franchise. They were like,
Wait.
they're gonna go to space.
So in for 9, they finally do what people were predicting since for 6.
Yes.
Oh.
I think that's the only entry that we are unsure of the title. Is it?
I want to say it's Fast and Furious 6.
I mean, that just feels wordy at that point.
It does. I don't
Considering
know,
the rest of the
maybe-
movies just like drop half the name usually, and it's a different half each time.
Yeah, keep them on the toes. Keep them on the toes. All right. They gotta be like The Rock. They gotta be Twinkle Toes. Was The Rock Twinkle Toes, or did he call someone Twinkle Toes in this one? I forget.
I think he called Jason Statham Twinkle Toes.
That doesn't feel like it made make sense in my mind.
One thing I will say is that, my God, what, like, it really felt like they were just setting up Hobbs and Shaw for like the first half of the movie.
So that's one of my biggest complaints with this one in particular.
Again, it just feels more like setup for later movies than a movie in itself.
I wonder if I would have felt that had I not known Hobbs and Shaw was the thing. If it would have just felt like they were just diverting to the bigger names. But I did. There's like after Dom has his switch when he first crosses them, right? There's that little scene of the family in like a garage talking, and Natalie Emmanuel's like, I know I barely know Dom, but I think he's bad or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? And we'll get to her what I guess we have to call a character.
Right? I mean, she does things.
We'll get to that. But there was that little scene with them. I'm like, oh, so we're gonna focus less on Dom, and we'll get to branch out these supporting characters a little and play with those dynamics, right?
No.
But then you get like 90% Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham.
And then Dom there too. Like, yo, for all this franchise talks about family, this movie did not give a fuck about the family.
No, they did not. And that kind of annoyed me. Like, I liked what we got, but I wanted more. And less of like
speaking of which, what did Tyrese do in this one?
You know what he was not doing? He was always, why did I word it that way? You know what he was doing? Always yelling.
Yeah, like, you know,
I ask you, how is that different from any other Roman Pierce in any other movie?
But the thing is, like, Seven at least had that scene where it's like, yes, this is what he is here for.
Yes.
Whereas in this one, they just gloss over that.
It was really weird looking at the team in this movie before they added Jason. I can't say Jason Statham. I feel like I have to go into an accent whenever I say it. Before Jason Statham and The Rock and was Scott Eastwood, before they're all added, you look at the team they have, and it feels so small.
Yeah.
Because Gal Gadot died in 6. Song Kang Han died in 7. No. End credits of 6. Paul Walker's out of the movie. And then Jordana Brewster's also missing.
But Han's gonna come. Han's gonna be back in the next one.
Yes. Yes. Again, death means nothing in these movies.
So when do you think Gal Gadot is gonna come back?
I totally think she's gonna come back eventually. I totally think they're actually gonna have her come back eventually. When I was watching through, and like 6 is a heavy Gal Gadot, Song Kang one where it's like they're like a couple. I'm watching the two. I'm like, I want to spin off of you two. You two work really well together. But yeah, it was really odd. Just like not only is half the team gone, but with that half, you lost most of the talent of the team.
Yeah, it's like, you know, okay. I thought of what it could be. It's like they're too good to be working in this squad. They got their own jobs that they could do. They could handle it by themselves. The ones that are remaining are the ones that can't do stuff by themselves.
I guess. Because literally, what does Roman do other than scream? I guess, is it Tej? Ludacris, right? Is Tej? He has the gadgets, which is cool. But then Natalie Emmanuel's, what's her character name?
I just said it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked you. She plays, I can't find it. Ramsey.
Ramsey, yes.
Ramsey's also a tech person. So like I feel like they cancel out. And then they play with them as a relationship, but they make it a love triangle with Roman, who's unnecessary to that. Because he doesn't have any chemistry with her.
But you know what? You just keep adding shit for to mention later.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Also, I don't know if you saw in the trailer of F9, But Ramsey goes, and there's a line where she goes, "I know this is a bad time, but I should to finally tell you all, but I can't drive." Which makes sense why she's in everyone else's cars in these movies now.
Okay, that's another question I have. Why does she keep getting brought on to all the
I don't know.
missions, like
I
in
don't
the
know.
vehicle? Like, I get it for the submarine thing. Yeah, she's got to do the tech, but like when they were trying to intercept Dom when he was going after the politician,
I don't know
the
what that
Russian
was. We're
politician.
talking about the New York scene, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. And we'll get into that when we can talk about New York. But
like why was she
yeah.
in the car for that?
I don't know why she's anywhere. Because I feel like Tej could probably do all her stuff too.
Nah, but see, Tej does different electronics, whereas she's more
Ramsey.
in Ramsey's more with the internet.
Oh, so he's gadgets, she's Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Which I guess that works, except Tej also knows that stuff.
No, he does.
That's why Kurt Russell had them come in and they're two staying together and they're tossing ideas at each other.
Yeah, but then Ramsey's the one that's like, this is the one that'll work.
I also feel like, and no offense to her, she's awesome, Natalie Emmanuel. She was awesome on Game of Thrones. But like, logically, her character doesn't need to be there.
Logically, none of these characters need to be anywhere, but you know what?
That's true.
Not how family acts.
It's not how family works, all right?
Family is
Can
like
we talk about the Jason
family's
Statham?
like, you know what? Just because you're useless doesn't mean you can't join us. You're still family. You're in this. That's how that works.
That's true. That's true. Can we talk about Jason Statham getting shot? And then he's pulled up by like two doctors or whatever.
Like, were we supposed to recognize them?
They're in Fast Five.
Okay.
They're part of the heist in Fast Five.
Are they just two people brought in for that movie?
I want to say they're also briefly in 4, and that's why they're brought back in 5. But then, so at the end of Fast 5, they show everyone what everyone does with their money, and the two of them just go to the casino. And then in 6, they're like, "Hey, where are those two people?" And they're like, "Yeah, they lost all their money in the casino."
Well, then in that case, they would be in need of a job. Why didn't they join up for 6?
No, I don't think they got paid in 6.
Oh, okay. So they were out doing other jobs to get paid.
Maybe. But yeah, they just show up randomly because they're famous. Also, the dude Dom races in the beginning, comes back in the end.
Yeah.
How did he get to New York City so fast?
He took a plane. No, he drove his car. That's really fast, man.
Also, how did Dom talk to either Duty raced in Cuba or Helen Mirren? I guess on the phone, and Charlize Theron never found out.
No. It wasn't on the phone. They showed that scene.
But how did he meet up with them? How did they coordinate the meetings before?
He knew where their base was, and like that's where he parked the car.
My God. These movies are so dumb and I love them.
Okay. Other question. Helen Mirren. Is this the first time she's in this franchise?
This is the first time she's in this franchise.
Do you think she'll become more important later?
Have you seen the trailer for 9?
Again, there was so much. The only thing I latched onto was they go to space.
She gets to drive a car in it.
And Han's there too.
Helen Mirren gets to drive a car in the next one. She gets.
I mean, that's something Ramsey can't say.
I wonder. I think the trailer does show Ramsey finally behind a wheel and like crashing into a stop sign or something. I wonder if Helen Mirren is in Hobbs and Shaw now as like a cameo.
That would make sense.
Also, shout outs to Luke Evans, who I didn't realize is in back-to-back movies on the $1 Billion Club.
Mr. Gaston he was Gaston.
Is back in Fate of Furious as the other Shaw. Why was he in this movie?
Because, family. It's a theme. It's a theme.
He has like 3 lines, and he doesn't add to anything.
But
Also,
he's family.
when
We
Helen
just
Mirren,
explained that like it doesn't matter if you have no purpose. If you're family, you're there.
I laughed my ass off when Helen Mirren pulled the family card on Jason Statham. Oh my god. Oh my god. And then Kurt Russell. I don't know what Kurt Russell is doing in these movies. He's so fun, but then he's part of the family in the end.
Oh yeah, he was. He no
He
no
was-
no no.
He sat
But
with
the
him in that.
but the thing was, he was like, I'm gonna go. He was like, this is a you moment. But then when he saw that the baby arrived, he's like, yo, I gotta see. He's just the person there with the popcorn, just watching the family interact.
Yes. Because I can kind of understand Scott Eastwood staying, right? He went through the adventure with them. He learned that there are no rules. That's rule number 3. There are no rules.
So rule 1 and 2, they're bullshit.
Yeah. Also, how is it that Scott Eastwood probably has the most defined character arc in this movie?
What are you talking about? Dom's right there.
Come on. Either jokingly or seriously. I don't know if it's either. Either is possible. What is Dom's arc in this movie?
Okay, Dom's arc is I gotta protect my family, but I gotta fight my family. How do I reconcile the two? Let me hit up my buddies and we'll help. Let me hit up my estranged family and get them in on this, and then we'll all be one big family.
So you're saying Dom's arc starts with family is the most important thing. Then he does a bunch of shit and he ends on family is the most important
No, no,
thing.
no, no. The arc starts with my close family is the most important thing.
Oh.
And it ends with all family is most important thing.
In the same way that one may say all lives matter, all family is. Fuck all lives matter. I just want to get that out there. This is a serious moment now.
Yeah, just like that scene where Hobbs is like being like, all right, we're gonna win, we're gonna do the thing, we're gonna get it. And then like I'm always here for a bait and switch like that. I don't know why, but I just love the idea of like a close up so that you can't see what environment they're in, and they're giving like a rousing speech that's like usually reserved for like act 2 to act 3 to get the team riled up for the final mission, and then they just reveal it's just like a very mundane thing.
It's cute. They also did that in 7 when Brian's like getting ready to drive the car, and then it's just
Oh
him
yeah,
dropping
yeah.
off. And it's
I
always
also
cute.
love how in that movie he was getting he was like hyping himself up for like moving up 3 feet.
But I did really like The Rock is Hobbs, right? Not Shaw.
Yes.
I liked
I also just made that mistake.
I'll be honest, when I watch these movies, I just call them the actors' names because they're not anything. But I like The Rock's relationship with his daughter. That I think they introduced it in 7 and
Well, you know what they say in these movies.
What do they say, Juan?
Family.
I love it. I
Wait.
don't understand why his daughter was at the party at the end.
You know what? They just gotta go full out for the final movie. Whenever they decide, you know what, we gotta end this franchise. Forget Fast or Furious, just call it Family. The family of the Fury.
So next one's F9, right? And then after that, it's just F. And we're like, why is it just F? Is it called Fast? Is it called Furious? And it's like, no. The 10th movie ends, and then you see the F slowly push onto screen, and then fade.
And then right next to
Emily. That's funny. Yeah, I liked The Rock's thing with his daughter. It's weird whenever we get a little bit more of their personal life, because I think it kind of minimizes the over-the-top wackiness and makes you start thinking a little more logically about these movies.
Does it?
But it's never enough that it pulls me out.
because it still feels very like cartoony, the interactions, even when the family, like the mundane family moments.
Okay. Okay. As I said that, I was questioning it. I'll be honest. My cousin asked to borrow to grab the mic in a bit. I was trying to reply while speaking, and it's
Well,
hard to
you know what? We got
multitask.
to keep the show on the road, even when you got other uh issues to deal with.
I'm sorry, Paul. It's hard to multitask. This is why I'm neither fast nor furious. I can't be both at the same
But
time.
you do have family.
I do. Family.
So you know what?
Close
Maybe you
family. All family. Oh.
got your long lost cousins, you got your brothers who you haven't spoken to in 10 years. They're still
On
family.
on the scene of The Rock and his daughter in the soccer team, right?
Mhm.
The scene starts and there's like the dude giving him the intelligence. And so I'm trying to figure out, is The Rock still like a CIA agent or whatever, or is he like a criminal? Because he ends up getting locked up later on. It's like, when did he
Well,
break
because
bad?
no. Because the job was supposed to be off the books, and then it got botched by Dom going rogue, so they got arrested.
So that's why he got arrested.
Yeah,
Okay, I missed that. I didn't get that.
I mean, okay, but like going back to the whole thing of like the family, the and small moments with like the soccer thing taking you out of the experience. Did you completely miss the moment where before the game starts they just do a Maui chant in front of the other team?
I didn't miss it. We just didn't come to that part of the scene. Which, is that offensive?
I mean, isn't Dwayne the Rock Johnson of that like
He is. He's. I saw a report that like 12% of Asian American representation is just The Rock. It's like Asian American and Pacific Islander representation is just The Rock, which we can break into that eventually. But I feel like because it's played as a joke, I can't tell if that's offensive or not.
is it played as a joke?
It
I
feels
mean,
like
it's
a
over the
punchline.
top, but
It felt like a punchline.
I don't know. The way I saw it
If
in universe was like this was a way to bring the team together and intimidate the other team.
I've seen other shows and movies do this same joke, and it's always funny. This was very funny, but something about it rubbed me a little the wrong way.
Mhm.
Like, to pull out a reference, the TV show Glee, right? They do the same joke, except the football team does the single ladies dance, which that's funny. Why are they dancing, single ladies?
Are
It's
they
the same
single
joke.
ladies?
You'll have to watch Glee to find out. It's the
You
same
know
joke.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, you're right. You're okay. I have a friend who just watched all of Glee, and I'll be honest, she must have been in some hell. If your choice was to either do nothing in a pandemic or watch all of Glee in a pandemic, so what drove you to watch all of Glee?
I mean, sometimes you just got to choose pain.
I don't know. I do like early Glee. Late Glee is a pain. Anyways, back to The Rock. Um, we both were kind of against the focus on Statham and The Rock.
Yeah.
However, I did like their prison breakout sentence.
The
Was
scene
that
that
yeah,
was fun. That was
that's
fun.
fun. I liked the frantic nature and energy that Gary Gray captures in that moment, and you see that later on again when Letty is fighting those dudes hand to hand.
I mean, you also see that shot that I loved from Seven crop up in that scene
Is it the one?
where
What did
like
you say?
you grab and then push and then the camera falls.
Yeah, they did that like twice in this
Yeah,
movie.
they did it in the prison fight scene and then like all the way when Dom's about to kill the redhead dude.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way.
The synopsis Pawan gave, no spoilers in that. No spoilers on what happens later in the movie, but now there's
Listen,
spoilers.
you got to make sure the audience knows at every moment when there's going to be spoilers because you know what I could By the way, we do actually have an email now. So if you did want to actually reach out to us about maybe some moment where you were like, "Damn, I was following you, but I wasn't ready for that spoiler you brought up in, say, Beauty and the Beast, where the Beast became human again. I wasn't ready for that spoiler. Why'd you ruin the movie for me? What's the point?" Now you can let us know
Yeah, let us know.
personally.
Pawn, what is that email?
It is $1 billion movie club@gmail.com. No spaces, no underscores.
No hyperspaces, no at Hotmail.
No, it's very simple. Just
I'll be honest, I forgot what the email was. That's why I tossed it to you. I'd like to take this moment to shout out director F. Gary Gray. As you mentioned, the opening was the biggest opening for a Black director, which is pretty damn cool. He has a pretty solid filmography.
I remember seeing Straight Outta Compton in theaters. I have thoughts about that movie, but now's not the time to get into them.
I saw that around when it came out. I remember enjoying it. I don't have any strong feelings about it, but that was a popular one. His first movie was Friday, which is,
I've heard that is a classic. Yes.
His follow-up to Fate of the Furious, though, was Men in Black International, which I forgot existed until I pulled up his Wikipedia page. So there's that. But solid filmography, and I think he does a solid job with this one.
Yeah.
Nothing too distinct, I think, from the rest of the franchise, but I don't think that's bad. I like he occasionally gave like point of view shots from whoever's driving whatever vehicle they're driving, and the slow-mo he uses is well timed, and yeah, some
Okay.
good directing. Like
so we both talked about how we didn't feel like this reached the stakes of the previous movie. Now I will posit one reason why that's the case.
All right, I'm curious.
So in the previous movie, we had people driving cars through skyscrapers, flying into another skyscraper, and then into another skyscraper.
Sure.
And like we had cars in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have cars in the air in this one, but no one's in them.
Yeah.
That's a step down.
We're talking about the New York scene in particular, right?
Yeah.
I think as cool as a lot of this movie has a lot of cool ideas of what you can do with cars, and you have that army of cars when Charlize Theron is like, "It's zombie time," or whatever she says.
I mean, it really did. The way it was shot at points, it did kind of remind me of some shit like World War Z.
There's so many of them. It reminded me. So in Too Fast, Too Furious, there's a scene where Brian and Roman are both in cars separately, and they're being chased by the police. So they go and drive into a garage and hide. And the garage door is closed. There's like 9 garage doors. And the police all surround the garage, like, "Hey, come out, come out." And the garage doors open, like all 9 of them. And dozens of cars slowly drive out. And so it's just like, you don't know which car they're in. So that's what that reminded me of. But yeah, you mentioned the fact that there is no one in the cars. Takes out some of the danger of the scene, right?
It takes out some of the danger. It takes out some of the human element.
Well, the one kind of human element, I guess, would be the Russian people in the limo we brought up earlier. I don't even know. Were they Russian?
The only reason why I think they're Russian is because they have the launch codes for the missiles that are in the sub.
That's a good point. So yeah, the thing with them is that although you understand that they're the ones in danger, you have no connection to them. The person you have a connection to is Dom, who is the aggressor in the scene, and so there's not as much tension because.
I don't know though, because even in like Furious 7, there was that long extended like chase fight sequence in the mountains where they were the aggressors, and like,
but they were fighting another force that could fight up against them. You had no reason to believe Dom wouldn't get the codes, right?
I guess, yeah.
Like someone could have fallen off a truck or a bike, or Roman may have never landed on the ground and hit a tree instead.
Ooh. This actually comes. There is one tenuous tie from the initial street race to that moment. He said it's not about the car. It's about the person driving it. And that's why that moment lacked much intensity.
Because there was no person driving them.
So
Smart
it
script.
was soulless.
Smart script. I will say, you brought up the opening action sequence. Races have never meant less in a Fast and Furious movie until this one. Because you
Yeah,
could cut
because
that
even
opening.
like even in the stakes of the scene, nothing matters to Dom at all.
No.
Like he doesn't want the guy's car. He doesn't care about his own car. He just gives that away too.
He just wants his respect, I guess. And that's, for some reason, that's the scene where I'm like, this is too damn ridiculous, all right? Because the front of his car is on fire. So he decides to drive backwards. Somehow is faster than the other car.
Okay,
Yells at
no,
everyone
no, no,
to
no.
run. Hold on.
You know what? That
Yells at
makes
everyone to run
complete
away.
sense that it's faster than the other car because engines are literally it's exploding. That's what's happening inside the engine.
Oh.
But it's a controlled explosion so that it doesn't break everything. So Dom's car is literally breaking everything with its huge explosion, so it's faster.
Thank you for that science fact.
That's what a combustion engine is. It's just
he runs into like the side of the ledge. The car rolls out as the car flips into the water. And then the most ridiculous part of this whole thing, right, is that he wins the race and all these children come out of nowhere and surround him cheering.
Yeah, just like how the entire like village just comes out for this race is like it's okay. It happened in Tokyo Drift, but like the thing is we had an establishment of who the racers were and like why everyone came out for that because like the dude was the head of the Yakuza, he controlled the town or whatever. Makes sense. Who was this guy?
I don't know. He could drive a truck and pretend to block ATMs. But also like Dom suddenly has a cousin, part of the family. We never see him again. Also, he just calls him like cousin. He never says his name. He gives his cousin his car at the end, and the crowd cheers again. Twice. But they rally around.
I guess he went down to like Cuba to be like, you know, I haven't checked in with my family in a while. I gotta check in with my family.
I thought Letty and him said they were on their honeymoon.
Yeah, but like they're doing that while hanging out with his cousin. Okay. You can do both.
I guess. I can't multitask, remember? I can't be fast and furious. Oh my god. This movie's crazy. Shouts to Christopher Hivieux. I don't know if that's how to say his last name. He was Connor Rhodes, Charlize Theron's right-hand man.
Mm-hmm.
He was awesome as Tormund Giant's Bane on Game of Thrones. The scene stealer in the final seasons. He has nothing to do in this movie.
I mean, he's there to be a presence.
Is he? What does he bring to it?
Well, I don't know if he was in Skyfall or Spectre, but like Dave Bautista.
He's in Spectre.
Like, he doesn't do much in that movie, but like he is a presence.
Okay.
Because like, again, he's just the henchman who's there. He's just like, you just see him, he's like, oh shit, he's a big motherfucker.
Oh, Dave Bautista. I'm excited to see his career just really rocket. He's going to be in a Knives Out 2?
Boy, he wasn't Rocket. He was Drax.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm so excited to see his career really Drax. And then we mentioned their characters do nothing in this movie, but shout out to Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris Bridges, and Natalie Emmanuel.
I mean, Michelle Rodriguez has more than the other ones. She just looks at Dom upset.
I will say, like, as ridiculous as this is, as soap opera-y as it is, I was impressed by what Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel brought to the script. Like as ridiculous and over top as it is, I think it matches the tone of the series. And so when you get Dom yelling at Charlize Theron behind a glass panel holding his baby, I'm like, yeah, you go, Vin Diesel. You go act. You go act because it's
You
working.
act to protect your baby you didn't know existed.
So if he and her were together in 6, but not 7, but he gets back with Letty at the end of 6, that means that they must have gotten pregnant in the near the end of 6 or right before 6. So would she have been pregnant during 7, or is 7 like a couple weeks after 6? Thus, she wouldn't be showing yet.
I don't know what to tell
No,
you.
no, because
Man.
then Brian and Jordana Brewster's character, they have their baby in 7, but they don't have a baby in 6. No, wait, no. She tells him she's pregnant in 5, so he must have a baby in 6.
One thing I will say, as someone who didn't know this Elena character and like her backstory, I filled it in myself. I imagined that she was the sister of the guy who left in the previous movie.
Brian.
Yeah, Brian. So like they just swapped relatives.
Speaking of Brian.
So it's like
right.
Brian was like, I'll get your sister and you get mine.
Damn.
Double wedding.
Well, that's cute. It's cute in the end. Speaking of Brian, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how does a franchise handle the loss of one of their major actors? There's no right way of doing that, right? I did not like when they brought up I think it's like Ludacris. No,
it's like we should bring
Roman.
Brian and he would know what to do. And then she was like, no, we're not bringing him in.
We can't let Brian and Mia in. It broke the illusion. Because if they're family, right? But seriously, if you're telling that everyone's included, why aren't they included?
Well, because in that case, you know, sometimes if your family is too close, you don't want those members to see them like that. It's okay. Here's an example I'll bring up. In the game Sonic Forces.
Wow. Wait, which one is Forces?
It's the one where the villain of the game shows up and just murks Sonic right at the beginning.
Is this the recent one and the cover's like red and brown and
it's black? The one where you can have your Sonic OC.
Yes, you can customize your character. Go on.
Yeah. Just like after you play 1 minute, that level that lasts like 1 minute, there's a cutscene where the villain of the game shows up and just like murks Sonic so hard, and then like all the rest of the characters think he's dead. So then it just cuts to a different like cutscene where Knuckles is hanging out with like Spectre. Well, no, not Spectre. The Crocodile and like the Vector, that's his name. Vector, and like the Espio and those guys,
Charmy.
Yeah. And then like at some point Knuckles says like, and you know, Tails really took it hard. He just lost it. Like he just couldn't handle it. He lost it. So like maybe that's what would have happened to Mia and Brian. Maybe they wouldn't have been able to help because they just can't fathom it.
But do they still like text them outside of world catastrophes?
I think so. No, I think so.
I will say, like, it kind of sucks for Jordana Brewster that she was written out of this one.
Doesn't she come back in the next one?
That's the thing. Turns out she does. I'm curious how they work that out.
Yo, they're really just bringing the whole crew together to get Charlize Theron. You know what? See, that's where they fell short in this one. That's why they couldn't get her. They didn't have enough family.
No, they did not have enough family. They had the close family, but they didn't have all of the family.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's the arc.
I will say, on the topic of Jordana Brewster, who I thought was just really wasted in the later ones of these. Michelle Rodriguez straight up called out the Fast and Furious characters for not doing justice to their female characters, and so it does seem like they're working on that in F9, and I'm curious to
I
see how
mean, yeah,
they
like even when they have the villain be a woman, she's just in a room talking.
yeah, which is really weird. It bothers me that one of the fun parts of the ending of 4 is that there's a reveal that Mia's behind the wheel of one of the cars, about to help them do some cool shit, and then she's like, she never drives after that.
You know what? I hope that, you know what, maybe they're saving it for the final movie for F10 family.
For family. Wait,
Yeah,
is
for
it
fam.
is it F, or is it F for family? Is it F10 family? Or is it family? What is the title?
Um, so there's gonna be like 7 different poster rollouts,
Wow.
but like during the final end credits, it's just family.
Oh, just family, like just friends. It's just family.
No, no. The word by itself, family.
I see. I see. I see.
So yeah, maybe I was about to say also like where's the kid from Tokyo Drift?
I don't need him. I really don't need him.
But like, you know what? They're bringing Han back in the next one.
I do
So
think
like
they are
maybe
bringing him back.
in
No, I do-
family, they're gonna be like, yo, I know this kid back from my Tokyo day.
I actually do think they're bringing him back. Let me look it up. I do want freaking Bow Wow back.
Bow Wow.
Bow Wow is in Tokyo Drift. He is coming back. Bow Wow is coming back.
Wait, who was he?
He is Twinkie. He's his
That
friend.
means nothing. Okay.
He's his
sure.
friend. He's his other American friend.
Oh, got
Oh,
it.
it looks like Lucas Black is coming back in F9.
So they are just, you know what? Maybe we don't know the full name of 9. Maybe that is where they're just gonna pull it out and like at the end just say it's family.
Maybe. So according to Wikipedia, right, of the main principal characters, which
Mhm.
I will, who would you call the principal characters of the Fast and Furious franchise?
I mean, see, this feels like one of those TV shows that like goes on too long and like the original cast is gone, so like it's hard to tell who is the main cast of the overarching series
Just take a
other than
wild
like
guess.
Dom.
Sure.
I don't know because Letty's not in enough of them.
All right. So according to Wikipedia, the principal cast, right?
Dom
Vin Diesel
Bryan.
as Dominic Toretto,
Yeah.
Paul Walker as Brian O'Connor, Michelle Rodriguez as Letty Ortiz, Jordana
Okay.
Brewster, Mia Toretto,
Okay.
Tyrese Gibson, Rowan Pierce, Ludacris, Tej Parker, Lucas Black, Sean Boswell. He's the lead in Tokyo Drift.
Okay. Okay.
Sung Kang as Han Lu.
Wait. The dude from who was only in 3 has a higher billing as a main cast member than Han.
This is by chronological. So the first ones were the main ones in the first movie, and they had Tyrese and Ludacris who were
Okay.
introduced in 2, and then Sean's more important in 3 than Han. Sean is supposed to be more important than Han in 3. I don't think so, but so he's higher. Then you got Giselle Yashar, Gal Gadot, and Luke Hobbs, Dwayne Johnson. That's the principal cast according to Wikipedia. And they're all slated to come back except for Gal Gadot and Dwayne Johnson. And then Paul Walker, it says
Wait,
archive.
Dwayne Johnson's not going to be in the next one?
That's what Wikipedia tells me.
Oh, I guess he's too busy running for president.
Yeah. However, it does seem to say that Bow Wow will be back, and Natalie Emmanuel will be back, and Michael Rooker's joining the cast. Fuck yes, Michael Rooker.
Now I'm starting to wonder if they're going to have enough space for all these characters. Like, they didn't know what to do with it when they had a small cast.
Pawan, are they going to have more space? Yeah, they're going to space. There's infinite space in space. Oh my god. And let's be honest. Just because Han's back doesn't mean he's the only one coming back. How incredible would it be if you go in expecting Han to come back and then Abner Gal Gadot's back too?
I mean, I haven't seen any of the movies she's in, so I have no like basis of hype for that.
But if you're in the theater surrounded by other people who love Fast and Furious and they all start screaming, you're gonna scream too.
See, I don't know if that would happen in the United States though. You'd have to go international for that.
You're right. You're right. Because obviously it was only Fate of the Furious was only the 132nd, 36th. See, my mind, I saw the number 6, but my lips said second. I don't know how that happened. Anyways, how did the baby not have a first name?
She just didn't fill out the birth certificate. She just left first name blank.
Wait, did she give birth in a hospital, or did Charlize Theron kidnap her and she gave birth under Charlize's capture?
I'd like to say that she gave birth before the fight scene in 7.
I hope so.
Because then it might be a little it's a little too similar to what Michelle Rodriguez went through in Lost.
Whoa, that sounds sad.
Yeah, in that show, her backstory is she was a cop and she was pregnant and she took 2 to the chest.
Oh shit.
It's a very dark character she played in Lost. Very different from this one.
Lost is a very dark show, isn't it?
I wouldn't say it's that dark.
Right.
Like it's not HBO shit. It's still primetime television.
It ain't Entourage.
You know, when you brought up the love triangle, it did remind me a lot of Entourage. Like a very specific thing.
I don't understand that part. Because
we're coming back to it.
Her and Tej have a thing. They kind of flirt back and forth, but then Roman comes on, and he's too strong. He's in near harassment territory with what.
Yeah, but comments. Like the way that these big budget movies work, like that, when it's near harassment, that's when the ladies swoon. You saw Jurassic World.
Oh, I thought you were gonna bring up Age of Extinction. Oh no, Dark of the Moon. But no, you're right. Jurassic World also did that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them that do that. Oh, yeah. So
there are some set pieces we didn't get to mention yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like right before Dom turns on them initially, there's Tej is like, Roman, don't think, presses a button, I think, and then the wrecking ball just swings by and smacks them. I love the sequence of Roman slowly driving into the water and Tej trying to rescue him. That was a fun one. Over the ice.
The thing again, like, considering how like the previous movie set up the like heist and stuff like that and showed it to you from the beginning, it was weird just jumping into the middle of that scene.
The middle of yes. It was. But I think it doesn't need to be extended because the point of it isn't them getting the thing.
Like I get that. But then we didn't get any moments where like Tyrese gets to shine. Because he did his thing back there.
He did. He overdid it in this movie.
No, but I mean like he would have done the thing that proves his usefulness in that scene.
He probably would have.
Because he's the setup guy.
Now
he's not the one to go to when shit hits the fan. He's the one who's like prolongs it. And like we didn't see that in this one.
I mentioned to you off camera that there is a director's cut of this film.
Yes.
And I got my grandma this DVD for Christmas. It comes with a digital code for the director's cut and the original theatrical movie. 2 different codes. One for the theatrical and one for digital. So I could send you this code and maybe there's some more Romanisms in that one,
Yeah, but see, the thing is, usually with director's cuts and stuff like that, it's never the big set pieces that get more time. Because that's a lot more money.
I wasn't serious. Hold on. Are you telling me that there wasn't more of Roman just in the I should have saved this, brother. But there isn't a scene of Roman just in the water as the water rises in the car and him freaking out.
I mean, there was one.
It's very brief.
You know what?
Well,
That is one thing I do like about this movie. I will give it that. It did not overstay its welcome in terms of moments like that.
No, it did not. It did not.
Because I could
And
easily see this movie being at least 30 minutes longer.
yeah.
If they didn't cut out a lot of aspects that weren't necessary for like the story itself.
Oh, Charlize has a line like, "Oh, we got one more part," and it was them going to Russia and the ice. And I saw the runtime; they were like 40 minutes left. I'm like, "Oh, that moved at a nice pace." Very well
Yeah.
paced. Why were they in New York City at the end? None of them
At
lived
the
there.
end?
At the end, they're on a New York City
Yeah,
rooftop.
I don't know. Maybe that's where Elena was before she got kidnapped. Like she moved there and was just chilling, barbecuing on the weekends on the roof. And it's like that's the environment the baby knows.
That's probably a better explanation than the movie would have given us. I did really like Statham's action scene when he's saving the baby. That was a fun one. And he's either shooting them in the head or in the balls, and he has like little one-liners to the baby.
I also love the song that they chose.
Oh, what the music choice worked well. I don't know any of the songs. What was that song?
It was the original Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas
Yes.
song.
Oh, in the headphones?
Yeah.
Does that play during the fight? I thought just when you kind of focus on the baby, you hear the headphone. Okay.
Yeah.
I did like there's one cut where it's a close up of the baby in the background. You see Jason Statham just smashing a dude's head into a counter.
One thing I will say specifically about that scene, because they chose that song specifically, it very much reminded me of a meme that I definitely shared with you.
You probably did.
It's like
share it because I don't remember.
It's a meme where it was like, if I catch you talking during the Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas song, and then it's that scene from God of War where he just launches the dude through the house and then smacks him against the mouth while the song is just playing in the background.
That is, I understand. I understand that pain. I have a couple more things on the end. Do you have anything else you want to bring up for this movie?
Okay, nitpick yes. Time. I did not buy New York City when they first introduced it. There were barely any cars on that road.
Yeah, it was weird how that's the weird say to do your driving set piece because it's always packed. And after all the cars crash, you'd think maybe there was a pileup and there's traffic and because of that street's closed or whatever. But no, the family was able to just drive through to where Dom was.
But you know what? We also got to think about it from this perspective. We've always seen it. A lot of these set pieces occurring in places we've never been. So who's to say if they're trying to be realistic with those places?
Wait, were you ever questioning if these movies were being realistic outside?
No, I mean like and their depiction of the environment that they find themselves in.
It didn't take me out in this one. It never takes me out. I did question it briefly, but I moved on. But did it take you out of the experience?
It did for a second, but then I realized like, wait, maybe it's just because I haven't actually been to any of those locations and really know them that it felt like, you know what, that's just an accurate depiction of that place.
Well, it's when you've never been on a plane and parachuted out onto an undisclosed road where there's a long runway where you chased over.
You know, I've never been in Dubai and driven a car through one skyscraper into another skyscraper and through that one and into a third one. I can't say I have.
Really fun. A couple things. I thought I only had a few, but I have a couple. There's a scene when Letty fights a couple dudes hand to hand, and Natalie Emanuel's as Ramsey is like trying to type something out or whatever, right? And it reminded me of the Letty has these hand-to-hand fist fights with Ronda Rousey in 7 and Gina Carano in 6 that are awesome, and it reminded me of that a bit. But then later on, she's like tossed out a window and she sees this spinning blade and she throws the dude into the blade.
That felt extremely violent.
Yes. That I feel weird when they actually kill someone.
Yeah, because it very much feels like that. Again, another video game reference, but like that superhero video game like Batman Arkham and like Spider-Man thing where there's like this huge over the top violence that like would realistically kill a person, but they're like, no, they're just unconscious.
But they actually killed him in this one.
Yeah,
And
they
then The
killed
Rock
that one.
comes.
No, that one person is definitely dead, but like all the rest of it still feels like it's just like, yeah, someone would realistically die from that, but like, nah, they're just unconscious.
Well, The Rock comes and he's like, "Oh, that's gruesome,"
Yeah.
which undercuts how messed up it is that he was so easily able to just toss the dude into a blade. Um, I also wanted to ask, what was the other thing I wanted to say?
Oh, one thing. I was not a fan of the dialogue during the first interaction between Charlize Theron and Dom. It was a little too on the nose.
You mean when she says, which one is it? She says, oh, I don't even know where it's the line when she says something about the fate.
Yeah, and then she's like, I know there's no way you'd betray your family, but I'm going to make you do it, and you're gonna hate it. You're gonna feel. She's like, you want this person to work for you. Why are you being so cruel?
Along with that, the crocodile scene.
What?
She tells the story of like, oh, if a dad brings his child to a watering hole, they gotta be careful because the crocodile might come. And then at the end of the scene, she's like, well, to the world, I am the crocodile.
Oh yeah, with the nukes.
So in the final scene, right?
Okay.
This is the end of my
Are you talking about like when they're in New York again?
Yeah, on the rooftop.
Okay.
So I asked earlier, why is the Rock's daughter there?
I mean, because she hung out with Dom when her dad was in the hospital.
Did she?
Yeah, they had that conversation where like
Oh, they did. They did. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that.
you know what, with Dom, you have one like semi nice conversation with him, your family.
Your family. Your family. We have 3 Shaws in this film. Yes.
Yes.
And yet only one is with the family at the end. Where are the other 2?
That's a great question. You know, I was about to give the argument it's like he didn't have a nice conversation with the other 2, but like he definitely had.
Did.
But like
With
that
Helen
was a
Mirren?
negotiation. That wasn't really a nice conversation.
Yeah, Helen Mirren also cares about family. Remember, she pulls the family card on Jason Statham.
Yeah, but like they don't know that about each other yet.
Yeah, we didn't see their whole conversation that took up 5 minutes, I think. Which I love that Charlie Theron's like, you have 5 minutes, and he spends like a minute trying to get hidden, and then he has to run over to whatever. So
Yeah, so like because we don't see that moment where they connect like that, they're not family yet.
What about Luke Evans? If anything, is Luke Evans family with Lenny?
Luke Evans, which one was that?
He's Statham's brother.
So I didn't see 6, so I don't know how their conversations went.
That's fine. But if Jason Statham is officially part of the family, right? Which I think this film suggests.
But like he just became part of the family.
But he is.
So like
he is.
But see, because he just became, they're not ready for that +1 yet.
On,
they're not ready for that +1.
You know who else just became part of the family? The dude in Cuba who he raced and gained his respect.
Yeah, but see, again, he didn't get a +1, and neither does Jason Statham.
No, he didn't get a +1, but he would, drive to another country and risk his life on a ploy against one of the greatest spies or hackers or thieves in the world.
Because like, but they're not ready for that +1.
Okay.
Because like, at least when it comes to like Hobbs, they had a whole other movie where they connected, and like Dom even had that conversation with the child. So like,
yes,
Hobbs gets that +1.
Yes. And then my other thing is, why is the kid's name Brian?
Because you gotta respect the legacy.
So does that mean the kid's gonna eventually meet his uncle?
Yeah.
And that's kind of worms. It felt weird to name him Brian,
I mean, at that point, he could just be like, "Yo, Junior, what's up?"
I guess. It is interesting that 7 and 8, this franchise this year turns 20 years old, or
Mhm.
18 or 20. I think it's 01 is the first one, so 20 years old, right? Very few franchises go on that long, and so now you're turning into the characters are looking to settle down. I think when you have a franchise like this, it's a push and pull, and it's hard to balance that. But it is interesting to see the characters explore this next part of their lives,
Mhm.
start to question it. And so you get Brian with his family in 7. You get Dom and Lenny now have a child in 8. It's interesting to see them tackling. I don't know if it's successful. I also don't know if it's unsuccessful, but it's happening.
So another reason why I touched on it briefly, but I want to like dig into this,
Okay.
that I really didn't feel the stakes of this one, is that again, they didn't really establish Charlize Theron as her own threat. It's more like that whole Christoph Waltz Inspector thing, where it's just like, oh, I'm retroactively connecting everything together and being like, I did this. When
I
sometimes with a friend, like it's very short sighted.
Yes, I still haven't seen Spectre, but I get the sense that's the feeling you're talking about. I understand what you're saying there.
It is very short sighted, because what are you gonna do once you deal with the person who wasn't the mastermind behind all the things that came before? What, you're gonna have the person who was the mastermind of that person?
It's interesting because this is written by Chris Morgan, who did 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 previously, and would go on to do Hobbs and Shaw. So that's interesting that I don't know. As ridiculous as this movie is, this franchise is, I don't think it usually cheats developing their villains in that way. The villains are always a fun part.
Yeah, that
So
wasn't the case here.
it's a little disappointing that she's not. She brought a lot of fun energy to it and seriousness, but it wasn't enough. It was a step down from Statham and Luke Evans previously, and arguably the Rock and Five.
I mean, the argument could be made that in this one they wanted to focus more on Dom being the villain, but like even
It's
then,
not.
like,
It's tough. I think
see, the
this
thing is,
movie.
if they wanted to do that, they would
Yes.
have held off on the Elena thing even longer.
Yeah.
Like, actually give us Dom as a villain.
No, I agree. I think if they wanted to focus on Dom as a villain, they have to cut the Dom point of view scenes
Yeah.
and leave it mysterious up until the reveal in Act 2 or 3, where like, oh, this is why Dom's evil now. And the fact that we get we understand why he changes about a third of the way into the movie takes out the dramatic tension.
Yeah, because you know he's gonna go back.
Yeah. Why would he go back? Because it's not just about close family; it's about all of the family.
You know, for some reason, I was initially like seeing the trailer for this one back in the day.
Hmm.
I was like, you know what? Charlize Theron must be his long lost sister.
Are you ready for 9? Because don't worry, someone had a similar thought, and it's gonna happen.
Wait, really?
Which trailer did you watch of for 9?
Okay, that might be where I got that idea then. Never
Do you
mind.
want? Do you know? Do you want the answer?
Sure.
John Cena is Dom's long lost brother.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Uh,
So is he gonna be a villain?
he does seem to be.
Oh wait,
the
no, no,
villain.
no. That's actually, that would be different for John Cena, because like he never plays villains.
No?
Like even when he was wrestling, he never played the heel.
This is gonna be a hell of a year for John Cena. Because I don't know if you ever watched Blockers, the comedy he did a couple years back. Isn't he awesome in that?
Yeah.
And so he has F9 this next month. We're so close to it. It's crazy. And then he has the Suicide Squad in August, and he has some fun stuff in the trailer. So I'm excited for John Cena's year.
I mean, it's crazy how they keep hiring him for like live action stuff when like you can't see him. So like, what's the point of hiring him?
Pawn, you didn't know he played the Invisible Man in The Invisible Man.
I mean,
Were you
that's the
unaware?
only role that feels appropriate at that point.
Well, he doesn't want to be typecast. It's a lot of CG to make him seen on screen, but it's worth it.
I mean, I don't know if it is like most of his movies are making $1 billion, man. That's a lot of budget just to
Hey,
make
this
sure
year,
your main actor is like, I don't know. You
Pawn,
really think 9 is gonna make $1 billion?
it's gonna be tough because the box office is not the place it was before. However, we know the international market is a little stronger, particularly China. And the Fast and Furious franchise is huge in China.
I'll be honest, Miss Simpson. I was hoping we were gonna get at least like a 4 or 5 month break after we
Of
catch
what?
up. After we like catch up to like 2020.
It will be like one or two movies at most. It'll be one or two movies at most. So let me just, because I believe Fate of the Furious's biggest market was China. Let me just double check that to be sure, but
that's crazy because none of the scenes were set in China.
I don't think that actually helps movies as much as Hollywood thought it did. Let me look it up.
Like that was weird when like Pirates 4, they just like jumped into that wormhole and ended up in China because like they were like, yo, we're making money there, right? Oh no,
So
no, I think they did that in Pirates 5. I'm getting them mixed
and
up.
see, it didn't work. No, so Fate of the Furious made like 200 million in domestically, made 392 million in China. So a whole 170 million more. So like the Chinese box office is killing it right now. Plus, Fate of Furious does well. I don't think it's too impossible. Domestic box office did solid numbers with Godzilla versus King Kong. And then you have stuff like A Quiet Place Part 2, Cruella. You have In the Heights that could,
you know what? I will just say
start
it right.
building the box office before.
Just like missed opportunity with A Quiet Place Part 2. They could have called it A Quieter Place.
I thought you meant Too Quiet to Place.
Or that. Like there's so many things they could have done instead of going for the lazy Part 2.
They want to be a film. They want to be a serious film. The early reaction is that Quiet Place Part 2 is great. Same with F9. So.
I mean, I was not a fan of Quiet Place Part 1.
Really?
And everyone loved that, so I'm just not gonna watch Part 2
true.
unless I'm forced to. Don't go see Quiet Place Part 2. Don't make me see.
Okay. You know, Pamon wants A Quiet Place Part 2 to be just like a John Cena. All right. You just can't see it. Juan, I think that wraps up our discussion on Fate of the Furious, the eighth entry on the Fast and the Furious franchise. A solid picture. However,
but you know what? It could be better.
It could. Because it's solid doesn't mean it's perfect. All right.
So, Miss Simpson, I got a question for you. How would you add some spice, add some flavor, make it pop?
All right, Juan, I got a couple ideas percolating in my head. All right, they're percolating. Percolating. All right. So it's very tough to play with the formula of the Fast and Furious franchise because none of these movies should work, and yet they do somehow. So I have a lot of little changes to the actual film itself. First off, when you're in Cuba and you're talking about the race, they're setting it up, and someone brings up, Letty brings a tank, and they're like, "Is that laughing gas?" She's like, "No, this is Cuban NOS," which makes me go, "Why is it Cuban NOS? How is it different from regular NOS?" All right, that's so odd. What makes it different? So whenever someone hits the NOS in this film, it's not NOS, it's the Cuban NOS. And because it's the Cuban NOS, it makes it more fun. And so whenever you flip that, you know how if you're on an airplane and then the masks will drop that you have to breathe into?
Sure.
So you flip the Cuban NOS and it goes really fast, right? That's just whenever they use NOS in this film. But additionally,
what, like you want them to play La Cucaracha or something?
there's a little compartment on the top. It opens up, and then the pole comes down, and Lil Nas X slides down the pole. Lil Nas X is in this film now.
Lil Nas
Whenever
X
the Keep It Nas is hit,
appears in this movie that came out like 2 years before he started getting popular.
I'm not saying this is how you improve it in 2017. I'm saying this is how you improve it.
Oh,
Period.
this is how you
We
make
had to wait.
the final cut.
Yes, the final cut. We had to wait. All right. So first off, Lil Nas X is in this. Next, we have the scene when Charlize Theron is telling Dom about the crocodile story. And she says, the truth is, Dom, I'm the crocodile in the watering hole. And pulls off her face. Her
And
face.
it's a crocodile.
I can say mask, but a face. Yes, it's a crocodile. Charlize Theron is a CGI crocodile. Who'd have saw that coming? And for the rest of the film, Charlize Theron is a CGI crocodile.
But she still speaks English, so it's like a huge ass,
Mhm.
like the mouth
it's-
moves like open, but it's just normal
It's
speech.
very similar to the Killer Croc in 2016's Suicide Squad.
Oh, you mean Oscar winning?
Oscar
Suicide Squad. So you're saying that Fate of the Furious should be vying for that Oscar the same way Suicide Squad did.
You know, Suicide Squad won in 2016 in the category of outstanding hair and makeup. 2017, that went to Darkest Hour for making Gary Oldman into
for making
what's that
his
dude?
esophagus annulate.
Yeah, what's the dude, the British dude's name?
Margaret Thatcher.
Yes. They said, oh, you know what they did with Meryl in 2011's The Iron Lady? Let's do that with Oldman in 2017 Darkest Hour. Churchill, when he was Churchill.
Yeah.
And so if you're telling me if I have to choose between Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill and Charlize Theron as a crocodile, you know my answer.
Mhm.
You know my answer. So next, we just glossed over that in the soccer scene. The Rock said that if the team lost, he might have to bring his daughter's team to a Tay-Tay concert.
Yes.
It made me question, why is Tay-Tay always the cheap answer for a joke? And also, does anyone actually call her Tay-Tay?
Yes.
Okay, I always feel like that's just a joking way and no one seriously calls her that. Anyways, I think in the end credits, you know how in Zootopia there's a concert scene? So they're at a Taylor Swift concert. And so, but the whole family's there. So when their name pops up in the credits, it's a close up on them reacting to Taylor Swift, however their character would react. So you get all of them. Vin Diesel's listening to Taylor Swift.
Oh, so
Helen
it's like
Mirren.
going all the way back. It's like how I had that idea for Return of the King, where the credit sequence is just an extended thing where like Elijah Wood says the name of the actors when they come into the room to like hop on the bed.
I forgot about that. Yeah. And so that's the mid-credit scene. That's during the credits. But there is also going to be a post-credit scene. Right? You know, there's this fascination.
Wait,
with
was there
baby-
one in this movie? Because if
think
there
there
was,
was.
I missed it.
I also didn't figure out.
Okay.
I meant to. Now there will be if there is one, there's an extra post-credit scene now. And you know, this franchise has began its fascination with giving its characters babies, right? You got Paul Walker's baby introduced in 7. Dom has a baby now in 8. And so it feels like they're teeing up for something, right? What can they be teeing up for? Pawan, I'm about to grab my guitar.
Oh damn, maybe you should have gone second. Oh well.
So can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not at all tuned. All right, that seems fine enough. So, what is the greatest franchise to ever include babies? Yes, the Muppets. And so, the post-credit scene is a tribute to Muppet babies, but with the Fast and Furious babies. Give me 1 second as I prepare.
Mhm.
Now, in the Muppet Baby song, there's a part where every character gets a line and like, I like this, I like this. And so there's a part in this version where it's just the different characters in Fast and Furious also saying, I like this, I like that, and so on and so on. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So I thought I had this better set up and I did not, and I apologize in advance. This is going to be a dual screen experience for me, and I didn't realize I needed 2 screens. And so give me 1 second as I tee this up. All right, it's a lot. It's a lot. Podcasting is very hard. It's not easy.
Yeah, you don't just turn on a camera and just start talking for an hour and a half. It's totally not what we do.
No, sometimes you have to watch a movie. All right.
That's even longer than the podcast would be. You're not ready for that. All right.
Have you ever watched a movie? Very hard. And so it would turn into a dream sequence-esque thing of Muppet Babies, but replaced with the Fast and Furious characters.
Okay.
So let's begin. Furious babies, there's nothing we can do. Furious babies, and yeah, we're fast too. When your world is crumbling and you need to call a crew, just dial up your family and we'll be there for you.
Hey,
I like cars. I like cars. I like cars. I like cars too. I got
vroom,
computers. Vroom. I got gadgets. I like computers too. Why am I here? I lost my place in the song. Give me 1 second. I apologize. I was so into
they
it.
go vroom, vroom.
Me, I put baddies behind bars, but through it all, we're family. Furious babies, there's nothing we can't do. Furious babies, and yeah, we're fast too. And so the chorus keeps repeating on loop and slowly fades as what we see on screen also fades away, revealing that yes, Dom and Brian's sons are playing together, and every adventure in the Fast and Furious franchise is part of their imagination. None of this is real. It's very much Saint Elsewhere, where it turns out the entire show
Tommy
takes
Westfall
place.
Thing.
Yes, the whole show takes place in a snow globe, but rather it is the imagination of the furious babies. There's nothing they can do. Furious babies, and yeah, they're fast too.
Oh wait, I just have one question for what you just saying.
Yes.
I heard. So there's 2 situations. I heard there's nothing they can do. Was it can or can't?
It's can't. I apologize.
Okay,
I should have enunciated better.
Right. Because that's 2 completely different situations.
It is. I apologize.
You know what? I have one thing to add to that, if possible.
Go on.
Could it be that they dream up this entire thing while they're in Brian's minivan?
So Brian's so Brian is doing that scene of him like, all right, I gotta get ready to drive up, and then they show the baby, Brian's baby, and so none of Fate of the Furious actually happened. Fate of the Furious is just a dream that
No. That's that one scene from Furious 7 is when they like go back to reality. Like that's the only moment when it's just like outside of the like imagination.
I see. We really fixed this.
But I have my own set.
Wow, you have your own set of fixes?
Yeah.
May I ask, so who do you think said I like cars?
The first one?
Yes.
Okay, is this before or after the reveal?
This is all before the reveal. You don't get the reveal yet.
Okay, so the first one was Dom.
Yes. Second one is?
The second one was Letty.
Yes. Third one is?
I'll give that one to Luda.
No. Because Luda has an upcoming one.
All right, the gadgets. The third one, let's say that was it anyone in this movie?
I don't know. I just said I like cars 4 times. I feel like it could be Dom, Letty, Brian. Then Roman goes, I like cars too. And then Tej says, I like computers and I got gadgets. And then Ramsey says, I like computers too. Why am I here?
Yeah.
And then The Rock says, "Me, I put baddies behind iron bars."
Yeah, I knew that one.
All right, Juan, how would you fix this movie?
Okay. But before we go into the fixes, there is one element of the opening scene that we didn't touch on. How it really, like, the movie, again, just for that beginning moment, it really went in on the sexualizing women.
It did.
With like the shots of like asses so there. It's like,
I
you know
always-
what? It's fine if you want to keep that. Just add some shots of like some, bulges for men too,
That's fair. That's a fair fix.
That's all
I
you
always
need.
feel like the sad part is that the sexualization in the later films is so much less than it was in the earlier films.
It also just feels so out of place.
Yes.
With what the rest of the movie is.
It feels like this franchise has moved past the gross early 2000s phase, and yet it comes back.
But like it feels like every time they need to do like a street race sort of thing, they're like, okay, we got to connect this back to like the original setup, so let's have that. And I mean, like, you could have the girl that's like doing the ready, set, go. Sure, keep that. But like, I want to see some bulges. So you know what? I just snuck in some fixes right there.
Nice.
Let's see some bulges.
Your first fix. What other fixes you got?
Okay. So you know what? We talked about how a lot of these set pieces in this one don't have people driving the set piece parts.
No, they don't. Like
in New York, you got the phantom cars that be acting like they're zombies. And the fix for that, I specifically was like, you know what? That reminded me a lot of World War Z. They didn't go far enough. You know what they should have done? Like, after all the cars are wrecked, there's like some other cars that come in and just go on top of the cars and then just like latch on, and then it becomes one big car, and then it goes after the gang, and that's what gets Dom safe and sound.
That's incredible.
And then the other big set piece that didn't have a driver, the submarine.
No driver there.
So for that one, you know what? Just have someone in that sub, like Charlize Theron. She doesn't have much to do. Maybe she just like parachutes out of the plane. It's like, you know what? Now I know how to drive subs.
But doesn't the sub explode?
She could parachute out the sub before that happens.
There's an eject button.
Like she sees what he's doing. He's like, no, and then she just bounces.
That's fair.
Like we need someone in that like just the visual of her like pulling up the thing and it's just going to match. It's perfect. Because what's the visual you have currently? It's her being like, do the thing in the sub, and the sub does the thing. That's not as good.
You want some more agency to the character.
Yeah, we need some more and also like some like presence, like personal stakes there.
She needs to take the Game of Thrones' dude's presence and take some of that presence.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know what? Let's throw in after the credits. Letty's just like, wait, when did this baby come here? All right, you know what? We've acknowledged this baby. How is this baby here? And then like Dom's like, don't worry about it. And then she's like, no, I'm gonna worry. So then they end up on Maury.
Whoa. So is the confrontation between Letty and Dom the mid-credit scene, and then the Maury scene is the post-credit scene?
Yes. And so you also brought up the love triangle, and I said how it reminded me of Entourage.
Okay.
So in Entourage, there's a moment. There's an episode where they go to Sundance.
All right.
And both Turtle and Drama are macking on the driver.
All right.
And the driver's like, you know what? I don't want to choose. I want you both.
Whoa. She kind of says something like that in this movie, doesn't she? She's like, oh, I kind of like both of you.
But then they just cut it off. Like, and then the boys have to like confront, like, am I okay with doing this with you? Or it's like, I want to see that moment with Roman and Tej.
So you don't want it to be a polygamous relationship, but rather a threesome.
Well, that's what it was
in the moment thing. So you want it to be more of an in the moment thing rather than a long term thing.
No. I do want it to be a bit of a long-term thing, but like they got to start questioning that here, as opposed to
So
being like, oh, maybe I could get in, and
they
you're
must
left behind.
they must now question if they're comfortable being a throuple.
Yes, because like it is all about family, and like they are part of the same family. Like, how are you going to leave out family when you're
Mhm.
talking about family?
When you're family, the incest of 2 family members is fine, but 3 family members, a little too far.
Exactly.
I see.
And you know what? You brought up how, previous movie Brian has a kid, this movie Dom gets a kid.
Mhm.
But so we've gone through 2 of the 3 main characters that have been here the entire time.
Sure.
So we had Dom, main character, of course.
Yeah.
Brian, again, huge part of the series. You know what else is a huge part of the series?
What?
The cars. So for F9, they need to set up some cars that are getting babies. It might have to do with like the zombie car that came in earlier.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that not just a weird baby itself?
No, that's not a baby. I want the cars to actually like spout out like one of the die cast ones, and then over time it grows into a big car.
That's funny. That's funny. Is this a post-credit scene, a tease, like kind of like Thanos at the end of the first Avengers, or is it a
So
cutaway?
it ends with like, so like you see that huge car that was there from the New York scene, and then next to it is this little die cast car, and then while you're focusing on it for like a couple seconds, it grows slightly.
That's funny. That's a good edit. F. Gary Gray. That's his name, right? Is it Gary Gray? Oh man.
I think it's
I think
Gary Gray.
F. Gary Gray. You know, your team, the writers on Straight Outta Compton nominated for an Oscar, and yet the writers for Fate of the Furious and Men in Black International not nominated for Oscars. Maybe you need some more minds like this, like these 2 minds. So hey F, whoa, his name is F, and he directed F8.
You mean
It's meant
Fate?
to be. I'm sorry. You're right.
Come on. We were just talking about how excited we were for F9. How are you gonna just forget that this is Fate and just say F8? No, it's one word.
I can't multitask, so I can't talk and remember the past at the same time.
Damn, how did we talk about this movie? Are you watching it without me noticing?
No, because that'd be multitasking. You know what's not multitasking? Science.
Yes, there's no interdisciplinary science that ever happens. You can't be a biologist and a chemist. What's that?
And truly, art is the most scientific of sciences ever.
I mean, they call it the arts and sciences because they need to put up the prominence of art in the sciences.
Exactly. And so, Paul, we're done with our subjective opinions. But now, what is it time for?
Now it's time to hop into the objective opinions.
It's time to rank this movie.
Facts.
The $1 billion.
Facts B.
All right, Juan.
You know me. I'm
You
heads.
always flip the coin, figure out. You say your
Heads.
heads. I'm worried my computer's going to spaz out while this happens, but it's heads. Wow. All right, Juan. Last week's movie, Beauty and the Beast at number 20. Did you like this movie better or worse than Beauty and the Beast?
Jeez, that's really hard to tell. I'm going to have to go with better.
Wow. Do you like this movie better or worse than Star Wars: The Force Awakens?
I'm going to have to go with better.
Oh my God. Better or worse than Zootopia?
Gonna have to go with better.
I did not see this coming. Better or worse than Rogue One, a Star Wars?
I'm gonna have to go with better.
Wow. That shocks me because I'll be honest, I would have never made those choices. But here we are. Between number 4 and 6. Let's open up the random number generator. Min of 4, max of 6. And the number we get is the number 6.
6.
Damn, Fate. I wish it was 8. I wish it was 8. We messed up.
Sorry, too bad.
Science really messed up.
Wait, what are you typing out? It's Fate. It's just
Is
F8.
is there no the?
No, it's Fate. F8.
Seriously?
Just F8. That's
No,
all you
it's
need
the
to
Fate of the
type.
Furious.
No, you just got to type F8.
F8 colon the fate of the
The Fast of the
Furious.
Furious. The Fat of the Furious.
There you go. No, that's not the word I wanted. There you go.
The Fast of the Furious.
Let's recap this list. All right.
At number 47, we have Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides.
I love when we get to some of these movies. Like, yeah, we did sit through this movie. At number 46, Alice in Wonderland.
At 45, Toy Story 3.
At 44, Avatar.
At 41, Transformers Dark of the Moon.
At 40, Avengers Age of Ultron.
38, Transformers Age of Extinction.
37, Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest.
35, Captain America Civil War.
34, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
33, The Dark Knight Rises.
32, The Dark Knight.
31, Marvel's The Avengers.
30, Minions.
28, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey.
27, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
26, Jurassic Park.
25, Iron Man 3.
And 24, Froze.
22, Jurassic World.
Tied for 21, we have Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Us, and Finding Dory.
At number 20, Beauty and the Beast.
And 19, we have Titanic. We were really hopeful with that one, being like, there's gonna be 18 better movies.
Were we hopeful or was science hopeful? Did science fail us?
Well,
once
we were
again?
hopeful, but we forgot that when you average it out, newer is better.
Mhm. Number 13, Star Wars The Force Awakens.
11, Zootopia.
7, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
6, Fate.
3, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, or Return of the King.
2, 7.
And number 1, Skyfall.
What a list.
I forget what is on that list all the time, and it is a
crazy how
treat.
the only movies that are in the same universe that are back to back are The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
It's almost as if it's meant to be. And you know what's meant to be? You listening to this podcast. Thank you for joining us
Thank
for
you
this week's
for coming
episode.
all the way through. And once again, if you would like to leave us feedback, if you want to go back and if you've had your list this entire time and just want to toss it at us finally, Miss Simpson, what's that email they could go to?
Pun, we can't do the joke anymore. I straight up don't know the email. What is it?
It's billion-dollar-movie-club@gmail.com. So if you've had that note sitting and you've been like, I can't send this to them anywhere, because it's not like they check YouTube. It's not like they check the Spotify comments. Where
I do
are the
check YouTube
Spotify?
comments.
But where are the Spotify comments?
That's a great call.
I don't know.
Question.
Do you know?
Do
Do
you?
you?
Let us know if you email billion-dollar-movie-club@gmail.com. That's it, right?
Because and I know there's probably stuff we said in the past. Like, you could go back to the Alice in Wonderland stuff and we could be like, oh yeah, maybe that is something we could have fixed, but like we don't even remember anymore. But like, you're the one who kept the note as an avid viewer of this show, because this isn't episodic, right, Miss Simpson? This is a serialized show.
It is serialized.
So like, it's hard to keep that going if we don't even remember everything that happens.
Very difficult. Very difficult.
So it would be helpful if we had eagle-eyed viewers, the true fans. What's the phrase Stan Lee used all the time in the comics?
Stan Lee, not Stanley. Stan Lee.
Yes,
I don't know.
he had something for, like, true Marvel fans would know this thing, like whenever a reference would come. I don't remember, but like, if you're one of those for this show, let us know.
Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Subscribe and like on the YouTubes. Leave a comment below. Shout outs as always to Max Lismacchio for the arts that you have seen by now. It's always wonderful. And join us next week. You may be expecting, hey, for episode 31, they're gonna do Despicable Me 3. However, oh, am I gonna sneeze? Wait, no, I'm not gonna sneeze. However,
because every 10 episodes, we do need to take a bit of a palate cleanser. Even though it's gonna be a question how much of a palate cleanser this is for the movies that are coming up. But next week we will be talking about Spider-Man 3.
Yes, Spider-Man 3, a big box office hit in its day. The franchise, the original Sam Raimi trilogy, was a huge, big deal, and we're going to look into that as we celebrate. It'll be around 12, 13 years after it first came out, so it'll be interesting to look back on that trilogy.
See where, because I really do feel like that is a bit of a nexus point for where...
Save it for next week. No spoilers.
It's great to see where things have come from when we've been looking at where things are currently.
And with that, thank you for joining us for the $1 Billion Movie Club, and we'll see you next week. Family, right?
Nah, it's about choice theory. Fate has called you to my location, and this is what was meant to happen. But you know about fate. It could be good or it could be bad.
So the first one is, let's see if we can do this without looking it up. First one is The Fast and the Furious, right?
Yes. Then we got Too Fast, Too Furious. Best name. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Is it Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift or
it is? It's Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and then Fast and Furious,
Fast,
and then
5.
Fast 5,
Fast and Furious 6.
I don't know 6. I
Furious
barely
6?
know about the existence of 6. I know Furious 7,
Furious 7,
Fate of the Furious, and then 9. Ooh.